Well, I'm here at Union Park Station. Just thought I'd come down on the actual day of a match for a change. It's about half an hour to kick off. Just saw a guy getting off who was going to be able to go in and see the match. He said he was staff. Said I couldn't get in. Pretty sure I was the only person on the train. Got on at Queen Street off at Union Park without wearing a mask. It's a bit like one time I went to Bristol. Me and a mate were the only two people on the train who weren't wearing Burberry or Aquascutum. The only difference there was obviously the reason I wasn't wearing a mask is because it makes me feel very anxious to wear a mask. And the reason I wasn't wearing Aquascutum on that other trip was because it was too expensive. But I have thought that there's a comparison to be made between lockdown restrictions and when Cardiff were made to play in red. Appreciate, obviously, nobody died when Cardiff were made to play in red, but it was done at the whim of the rich owners. And incentives were given to encourage people to go along with the idea of changing to red. Promise of the Premiership, money and everything. And a lot of people did go along with it. Giving a free red scarf, this sort of thing, encourage people. And then obviously we did get to the Premiership. So maybe you could say that's like, you've had the vaccine. So now you'll be fine, give it time, everything will be back to normal. I'm still sceptical that things are going to go back to normal, even after everyone's had the vaccine in a few months' time. Because it didn't happen last year. I know the vaccine wasn't around last year. But I just think that they're likely to come up with more reasons to continue restrictions. Just as we didn't go back to blue, even though we only stayed in the Premiership for one season, and as I say, the reason that Cardiff eventually went back to blue, the only reason it happened was because people really started to get tired of it. There were a lot of protests, and they eventually decided they would allow us to go back to blue. And it just surprises me that there haven't been more people protesting against the restrictions. I'm fully aware that obviously people can see a decent reason for having the restrictions, but me personally, I think it's too much. It's been too excessive, and I just really genuinely don't think that they are going to just give us our liberties back without further protests. So I don't know. You might think that's a completely sort of false analogy, but try to think about it in some way. Anyway, I'm at the station. It's about 20 minutes to kick off. Don't think I'm going to be able to get into the ground, but I paid for the game to watch it. Just on my phone somewhere. So I'll be doing that in a minute probably. Did ask if they'd be able to give a mention to a friend of mine who died a week or so back. They haven't got back to me yet, so I don't know if that's going to happen. But we'll see how the night transpires. Cardiff 1-0 up. That's good. I did stroll down to the ground. Obviously, probably no chance of getting in. Made some inquiries. They said, could I possibly watch in the back row? I said no. A couple of lads, young lads, sitting outside KFC, so I gave them my login details so they could watch the game as well.
I've just been sitting by the car park of the old Million Park pub watching the game. Yeah, just one or two other things I was going to mention. And when we went to Red, it was never really properly explained, not a proper reason given why we should go to Red. And obviously, with the lockdown restrictions, I understand, lots of reasons been given, all reasons. I still think, I just think that there could be more to it, and that, in fact, the very, very few people who made the decisions are somehow benefiting them, rather than the millions of people who've been affected. But then on the other hand, the other thing I was thinking of was when we did go back to blue, it really did unite the fans. I mean, all fans came together. There was nobody saying, "Oh, actually, we prefer to be in red." And I don't think there were people saying, we'll prefer to be in the lockdown. After all, when we come out of lockdown, if you prefer to stay at home, obviously you've still got that option. Again, obviously, like I say, if it all comes in a few months and everything's fine, obviously I'll be happy to see that happen. If I'm proved wrong. Anyway, probably I'll go on to get the win.